Jai Hind to everyone. Today I am going to discuss the topic Express Framework of Node.js. This is my lecture 4 related to Node.js. In my previous 3 lecture I discussed some of the important topics of Node.js which is related to the subject BCS 502. So in this video I am going to describe Express Framework, one of the important framework for development of web application. So what is the Express framework? Basically it is a web application framework. So when you are going to develop any web application with the help of Node.js, we need to import this express.js, or you can say express module in your program, and it is a flexible, and this is the basic requirement to develop any web application. It has many good features for the development of web as well as mobile application. Now, with the help of this Express framework, what you can do, you are able to handle file, you can connect with the SQL also, and you can connect with any database which supports NoSQL. So this Express framework is also provide connectivity features to database as well as the file and manipulation of different files. It is basically Node.js is a built-in server. We already discussed in my lecture 1 what is the Node.js. Node.js basically it is a server programming and it has inbuilt server, so no need to install the separate server for the Node.js programming. Now it uses create server method in its HTTP module to launch any asynchronous HTTP server. As if you refer my lecture 1, I already discussed Node.js basically working as a asynchronous programming approach, and it is a web server based. So with the help of this method you can create the server basically which is HTTP server on which you can run any web application. Now some of the core features of Express framework, basically it set up a middlewares to respond to the HTTP request. So when you develop a web application, it is working on HTTP protocol and it works as an interface between your request and web application. It defines routing table which is used to perform different action based on HTTP method and URL. It allows dynamically render HTML pages based on the passing arguments to the templates. So if you look, Express framework is a middleware. It provides easy access for the web application. It also handles the request, and it also produces the dynamic pages when we are using Express framework. It has many features if you are including in Node.js programming. Now if you want to use the Express framework for web application, first of all need to install the Express framework, for which you will use npm. Obviously it is in the command prompt, and after the npm you will write install, then write the name of the Express, then give the option .save for the JS file synchronization. So when you execute this command, the Express framework will be installed, and after that you can use this package in your programming. Now let's look for use of the Express framework in Node.js. This is an HTML program, and name of this HTML program is index.html. I want to run this program in a web server. To running this program, we are going to create an Node.js program, because Node.js is also run on the web server. So with the help of Node.js, we will read this file, and this file will be run in the browser and it will display the hello world. So for this example, first of all we have created a file of HTML and name of the file is index.html. Next is it is a index.js file, that is a Node.js file. Now to work on the Express framework, need to import the Express framework in this file. So we have written require Express. Express framework is already installed with the help of this command. Next, in this program, we are implementing in this program, you can say using this Express framework in our program. So we are using the required to import this Express framework, and an instance will be created here. Then we are creating an application object. This is the object. It is a, you can give any other name. So on the basis of this Express framework, we are creating an object by which this object we will work our program. Now this file is already stored in somewhere in your system. So we are using this require path. Path is the one of the option is available. So it will create a variable for the path. So it will access your path for a particular file. So these are the simple lines to import the Express framework and creating the object and set the path. Next job is to call the get method, and it will take two arguments, argument 1 and argument 2. Argument 1 denotes that we are accessing the file from the root node. So this slash represent we are accessing the file from the root node. Okay. Next, second argument, it is a callback function. It is a callback function. It is taking two argument. One is request, second is response. So there are two arguments again here, request and response. It is an anonymous function. In this anonymous function, we are using the RES. RES meaning is response, and we are taking the file index.html that we already discussed. This is the index.html, and we are using the path, and dir name is giving the exact path of the index.html, and it will be combined with the your predefined path. So whatever the directory is there, index.html, basically we are understanding it is in the current directory. So this file will be taken and it is given back to the server. So when you running this file, it will call the get method and it will read this file. So whenever we are creating a server, server must be listened from a port number. So we are using app. App is the object of the Express framework, and we are listening this web server at the port number 5000. You can give any port number, and this app.listen is also can use second argument as a callback function. It is a callback function with no argument, and we are just displaying the message. You can display any other message. You can run this program or you can run this website with this URL. So when we are using the get method is to read the file and send the file as a response to the server, and server will listen at the port number 5000. So when you run this program and giving the URL in browser, so it will display the hello world, because we have already given hello world in the index.html file. And here you are using the local host and we have given the port number 5000. So when you are running this program, you can access this program with the help of this URL localhost colon 5000, because web server is created in your system. So we are using the localhost here. It will show the hello world message. So this is a simple program in which we are using two files. One file is HTML, which is in the current directory. Second file is node.js file, that is name of this file is index.js, and we are using this Express framework which is imported in this file, and then we are calling the get method, and we are using callback function to send the index.html file from the current file to the web server, and web server will listen at port number 5000. This is one of the program. And this is the explanation of the program for your understanding. We are using an application object. This is the application object, An object of the top level express class denotes that application object. It is instantiated by the following statement. So, this is the importing of the express framework, and then we are creating the application object. Application object handles important tasks such as handling HTTP request and rendering HTTP views and configuring middleware, etc. So, this object will responsible for handling the request and response, request as well as response object. Then we are using app.listen method to create the Node.js web server at the specific host and port. It encapsulates create server method in HTTP module of the Node.js. So, with the help of this listen, we are creating a server, and we are listening the server at the port number which we can specify it here. In our previous program, we have mentioned the port number 5000. Next, main understanding of the Express framework. App object, that is application object, can handle HTTP request. Now, request can be 4 different types. One is GET, this is the first. Request can be POST type, this is second. Request can be PUT, third, and request can be DELETE. So, HTTP request can have 4 different types. It can be GET request, it can be POST request, it can be PUT, it can be DELETE. Accordingly, you have to call the method. So, if you are sending the GET request to the server, then you need to call the app.get here. If you are sending the POST request, then you need to call in Node.js app.post method. If you are sending the HTTP request as a PUT, then in Node.js you have to call the method app.put, and if you are sending HTTP request as a delete, then you need to call the method app.delete. So, this is very important understanding. So, in summary, what our understanding is that app object can handle 4 different types of request: GET, POST, PUT, and DELETE. Accordingly, you need to call the method. In case of GET request, we will call app.get. Similarly, for the POST, we will call app.post, and for the PUT, we will call app.put, and for the DELETE request, we will call app.delete. HTTP request and HTTP response objects are provided as an argument to these methods. So, it can have 2 arguments. One is request and second is response. The first parameter to this method is a string that represents the endpoint of the URL. That is, we can give name of the URL, or you can give slash to represent that it is a URL is from the root node. These methods are asynchronous and invoke a callback passing request and response object. Now, in case of GET method, as I have given in the previous example, here we are calling the, in this example, GET method because we are sending the request by HTTP GET. So, in case of GET method, it handles GET request when the client visit. This is the endpoint URL, that is a represent that we are going to start from root. So, it is represent we are going to start from root, and function request and response, and we are sending a file hello world. So, this is way we are calling the GET method whenever we are using the GET request. Now, it can handle 2 arguments. One is request and second is response. So, it is a root method. Now, request object represents the HTTP request and has the property for the request query string, body, and HTTP header. Response object represents the HTTP response that Express app sends when it gets an HTTP request. So in summary, your request object is for getting the request, and response object is sending the request back from the web server. Now look for the example 2. Use send file method to display HTML form in the index.html file. So it is a index.html and it has a HTML program. This HTML program consists of a form and it has first name and last name, 2 labels, and it will take 2 text boxes with the help of input tag, text box 1 and text box 2. Name of this text box is first name and last name. Now this is the important. We are sending the request with the help of get method. You can change here post also, but in this example we are sending the method get. So when we click on the submit button, it will call the file process.get. Process.get basically it is a Node.js file. So when we click on the submit button, the data in the text box 1 and text box 2, that is text box name first name and text box last name, will submit to the file, and name of the file is process_get. This is the Node.js file, and when we run this program, it will install Express framework, set the path, and it will use the express.static public. Then this is the get method. So we are using here get because we are sending the request HTTP with the help of get method. So therefore we are calling app.get, and we are working from the root node. So we are using the slash here, and it will call a function, that is anonymous callback function with 2 argument request and response, and it will send the file with the help of response, and name of the file is index.html. This is the file. This is the file will be sent to the server. When this file will run in the server, you are able to type from the in the text boxes, like here this file will be displayed at the port number 5000. So here we will type something like Shashank, last name is Sahu. For example, you can write Rajesh, last name is Kumar. Then when you click on the submit button, what will happen? So when you click on the submit button, it will call this second app.get method, and it will call process.get. So this process.get is already mentioned here. It is mentioned here. So when we click on the submit button, it will match with this process.get. This matching is there, so it will call app.get. It will call callback function with request and response. Now here we are preparing a response back to for sending back to the web server. So response is the variable, and it is basically it is an object, and we are using first name and last name. Now we need to collect the data from the text box. This is the text box. We need to collect the data from this text box. For example, here the name is example is, suppose we have taken Amit, and last name is Kumar. So when we click on the submit button, it will call the match with process.get, and it will call this function, and request parameter will receive both the data, Amit and Kumar. So we need to extract the data from this request object. So we are using request, the query is a predefined object to accessing the variable. Then we are using the first name basically the text box name. This is the text box name, you can see here, it is a text box name. So we are using the query, request is an object, query dot first name. So the first value, that is the Amit, will be extracted from the text box and will store in the variable first name. Similarly, it will take request, query, last name. Request is the object, and then we are using the query, and last name is the text box name. It will get the value Kumar, and it will store in a variable last name. So your response is ready. Whatever you type and click on the submit button, it will match with the process get, and you call this callback function and extract the data from both the text boxes stored in a variable first name and last name. Next job is to display this value. So, we are using console.log and we are sending the response that is ready here, that is we are sending the object of response, and it will display this response with the help of JSON, stringify and response. So, it will display on the console. So, when this program will run, it will display, this is the output. This is the output. So, here you can see the first name Amit, last name Kumar. So, this output is possible because of running this console.log with the help of response. Response is already ready and it will display the both the value of both the variable first name and last name. Now, this is the explanation of this function app.get and app.secondGet with the help of process get as a URL. So, when we need to work on this program, we need to create a server. So, app.listen will creating a server and it will listen at the port number 5000. It is a port number. It is a port number. So, when this program will run, the server will listen this index.html file at the port number 5000, and asynchronously it will also run a callback function and it will display a message express app running at this URL. So, it is just a message to display to user we are working on, the server has been created and we are working on the server. So, in browser you will use localhost and name of the port number. So, first it will display the text boxes, write the name here, click on the submit button, then it will display the output. So, it will return this output and this output will be displayed. So, this is the second program and very good program to demonstrate the use of the Express framework in the Node.js file. Thank you very much. Today in this lecture I have discussed about what is the Express framework in Node.js, and basically the Express framework in Node.js is for the web applications, and I have discussed two example. One is a very simple example related to Hello World, and second I discuss how will you give an HTML form in a HTML file, and then we click on the submit button, what will be the output when we submitting data in the text boxes, how will you retrieve the data from the text boxes and display to the client. Thank you very much.